Hi guys!
We're back.
It is the No Smoke Pickleball Show, episode 5, take 2. Having some internet connectivity issues with the Johns boys, so we are just going right to Facebook Live here instead of trying to use our program in Skype. So we're going to get those guys on here in just a minute. I think we can request them to be added as soon as they're watching, I think. Where is your... I got it. We got to untangle some headphones. Oh, there's Ben. Hang on. Will you please message Ben on Messenger and tell him to watch our stream, and then we will invite him on. Look at this, guys. Why? Why is this a thing? Why is this a thing that happens in real life with headphones? It's so crazy and so annoying. But thanks for sticking with us, guys. Please share this if you are watching, wherever you think someone would like to be. Hi, Martina. Welcome. We're chatting with your lovely mixed partner, Collin, or we hope to be shortly once we get him back.
Yeah, Ben needs to join the stream, and then we can add him.
Yes, I know.
I know.
If you can... Where are you? Guys, technology. It's just such a bitch sometimes.
Then my phone won't find him.
And then Ben Johns doesn't exist. Somebody tag Ben Johns in this stream, and then we'll get him on. Okay. There he is. Ben. Request to join this stream. We're gonna get you on. Hold, please. Hi, Ben and Collin. They're watching. Yay.
Allow your viewers to join. Request the broadcast.
I don't know if that's a thing. All right, guys. We're going to get you on here. Hold, please. We had to do this with the Newmans as well, so, you know. There should be like a little thing on the stream, Ben or Collin, that says, like, request to join the stream. And then we will... Not yet, please. And then we will get you guys on. You might need headphones, though. Hold, please, guys. Oh, Jordan. Welcome, Jordan. Josh, everybody. Good to see you guys.
They might need to be on their
You had it because
phone.
I was just about to join. Josh was just about to join. All right, hang on. All right, I said guest requests. So, Ben, I see you on there. Maybe request to join the broadcast if you see that as an option. And then we'll get this guy going because we have so much fun stuff to talk about. And, you know, all this stuff is just noise and annoying. But thanks so much for watching, guys. No Smoke Pickleball Show. And, you know. Do we want to listen while we're...
Lauren, see if you can add me real quick. Add me.
Oh, Kyle's watching. Yep, you can.
So they might need to be on their phone. They need to be on their phone.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
why.
Ben or Collin, you guys got to get on a phone. Sorry. We forgot to mention that part. And then you might need headphones. Probably will. You might need to share them. Yes, Sean, we are going to break the internet. It's going to be awesome.
The
and
internet
we're going to have so much fun. It already broke. That's what we did. We broke the internet.
Will you plug that in,
and
please?
it didn't happen. And this is the microphone, though, so we got to make sure and talk right here so everyone hears us. Hi, Dana. Yes, guys. We broke the internet already. The internet could not handle us talking to Ben and Collin Johns at the exact same time, so it broke and we could no longer use it.
I don't know if it's our, because like we tested it and our
we tested everything. It looked good to go. So you know, whatevs. Oh, Sean, will you please enjoy your pickleball and absolutely watch this later, and it'll be awesome. Good times. Yeah, so we'll just keep chatting.
So what's the half spin, Lauren?
Just trying
How was
to
your week
figure
of
out
pickleball?
all this stuff. I played some pickleball this week. Ooh, Colin's watching.
There we go. There we go.
Collin.
There we go.
Let's see. Come on, we can do it. We can do it.
They're connecting.
I hear
there
you.
Guys
Yay!
are.
Fix your hair, though. Fix your hair.
Hollywood's looking good.
Man,
you guys are looking sexy. I can't handle this.
As always. That's a lot, I know.
Man. All right, guys. Well,
okay.
you guys are following in the great footsteps of Lindsay and Riley Newman, in that we also had to go just Facebook Live with those guys because,
Yeah, only Steve figured it out, really. Pops is very tech savvy. So
Yay!
Handle it. We can't.
All right.
Oh my gosh.
So we were before we broke the internet, we were talking about the comeback at the Pickleball Masters, and they were down 10-1 in the third game, and then Collin decided to get his stuff together.
Yep.
And was a dinky machine, and to be honest, he outplayed Kyle in that particular game.
Yep. it happened. Collin, you won that match, right? That's what we're all saying.
Sorry, Ben. We need to give Collin some glory here.
I wouldn't go that far, but there was the fact they couldn't hit to the other side because Ben was over there. Yeah. But as far as hitting the balls, I got most of them.
Yeah, Ben was creeping like mixed doubles. He was on the prowl. Not as bad, but he was on the prowl.
So true.
He was on the prowl, yeah. He usually is.
Collin, you hit a bird or two, but the opportunity didn't arise.
Oh, man. Collin, do you want to change your earphone to the other side, your other ear, and then the microphone will be closer to both of you guys.
Sure. Jeez, you can't go right ear.
Yes. Do you guys? Hey, that's my other question. Do you guys argue like that on the court at all, or is it just mean body language?
No, we don't really argue on the court. But
there's not really arguing. He's 6 years older, so we never really got into arguments. It's I guess that gap has something to do with that. We're not always as encouraging as we maybe should be, or on a perfect same wavelength in the court, but we don't really argue.
That's true. Well, I was gonna bring up, you guys play singles against each other a lot as well now, and so when you guys are playing singles, I feel like I don't sense a lot of brotherly love and support out there. It's sort of whoever wins, you tap paddles and you just get off the court. It's no great job, brother. I'm so glad you won or did a good job.
It depends. In Texas, I played him in the final, and then right after the match, I was dude, we're playing together tomorrow. I need to get you whatever you need. We gotta get some protein in your body. Let me give you some magnesium. Here's this, here's that. I was I need you not sore tomorrow. So get your shit together right now.
That's so nice. That's a good brother. Oh no. Okay, not a good brother.
He shouldn't have run me so much, and we would have won the next day.
So what was it like? Do you have, how many siblings do you have? Do you guys have 5 other siblings, or you guys have 4 other siblings? How many are?
We have 5 sisters.
Holy.
5 sisters and 2 boys. So you guys have 7 altogether.
Yes.
That's quite a lot of estrogen running through that family.
I know.
How did you guys survive?
How did you guys survive all the girls?
Well, we have each other. That's about it.
That's what makes you guys so close. Love it.
You might say that.
Well, so speaking of the family, you guys are from Maryland, right? Most of the family is still there. All of them, except you have one of your sisters is in Prague. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Is everybody else in Maryland, though?
Yes.
Yep.
Awesome. Cool. And then you guys, I think it's fairly well known that you guys are homeschooled, through high school. You guys have been homeschooled and then kind of,
went your own ways.
Just broke out of your shells and made a run for it after that. Just kidding. So how is how old are all the siblings? How young do you guys go?
Do you want to rattle them off?
I'll rattle them off.
Yeah,
yes.
Good answer, Ben. You don't want to get this wrong.
No, I'm 26. We have a sister 24, sister 22, Ben's 20, sister 18, sister 16, and sister 3.
Whoa! So
there's a big gap between the last one and the second to last one.
I mean, don't let her see this, but was the 3-year-old planned?
No.
Okay.
No.
I feel like we had like a real good 2-year situation happening, and then something went awry.
We kept it together, and
very
we had
systematic.
It all organized. Like the plan was, you can rattle them off just because they're all 2 years apart perfectly. Yeah. But then she came along and ruined it.
And 3.
And there's a baby.
Yeah.
Well, all right.
So we know that you guys were big into baseball growing up. What I was really surprised.
Well, you really did your research before this interview.
Man,
yeah,
Collin,
don't know that.
I want to know how you started playing tennis so late in your life, like at 15, and then made it almost to the tour.
Man, I'm impressed with how much knowledge you
Dude,
have.
I was creeping in your guys' bedroom last night. You guys
they're in your diaries and stuff.
What else do you know?
You'll find out.
Yeah, you'll find out.
I'm a little worried now.
Hey, we asked them pre-interview, is there anything off limits?
You
and
said
Ben
no.
answered for you, Collin.
And I was like, no, they don't know anything.
They don't know
really
anything. Now he's worried.
I was like, wait a second. What should I have mentioned? Well, no. So the baseball thing, like, well, Ben, we were watching something you played. You stopped playing baseball at a certain point and kind of
16.
switched
we both stopped playing baseball at 16.
Yeah, we both stopped at 16.
But Collin, you had like big dreams for baseball that then like turned into tennis dreams, right? About professionally playing.
Yeah. So I played travel baseball, like Little League, growing up. So I was quite good, but I never really had the burning desire to be like a major leaguer as much as some kids. Of course, I mean, every kid who plays baseball wants to play in the major leagues, but not in the same way that I really went after tennis once I found tennis.
So how did you find tennis?
I started playing I found it on vacation when I was 13, and then I started playing pretty much when I turned 14. And I started playing a lot when I turned 15. So I found tennis relatively late, but that made me really love the game and want to improve more than anything.
In case anybody didn't know, Collin was actually in the top 1,000
in the world
on the ATP rankings.
Yeah,
which is quite a feat in itself, especially when you don't have a backhand either. So. You want to talk about that a little bit? How you, Alexi? Okay, so we have someone that's watching right now. Her name's Alexi Loomis, and she does the same thing. She has a double forehand. So you go ahead, Collin, talk about that.
Collin,
interesting.
Collin, tell us how this craziness came about.
And the craziness came about. So yeah, I hit a right-handed forehand and a left-handed forehand in tennis, and I'll do the same thing in pickleball and singles sometimes. I don't really need it in doubles, but in singles you will see me break it out from time to time with the left hand. That came about sort of because I started tennis really late, and my backhand was never any good, and my dad didn't really know much about tennis, but he's like, you know what, the forehand looks a whole lot better. Why don't you just hit 2 of those? And I just kind of liked the idea, and I started fooling around with it that summer in the backyard on our dirt court, and we had a ball machine, and I used to hit balls at Ben's head that summer with my left-handed forehand, and that's about how the left-handed forehand was born. In our backyard on a dirt court, and I stuck with it, and it was better than my backhand after a few months because my backhand was so bad anyway. And well, it's won me a lot of matches since then.
That's awesome.
Certainly made me different.
So, and then during this time, Ben, were you just still playing baseball, or were you kind of getting into pickleball?
You know, at that age, I was doing a lot of things. I was into a lot of different things.
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Is that what you're into? Is that
all of the above?
We know those homeschool kids get into some stuff.
Yeah, we get pretty crazy. I don't know if you know, but it goes through the roof.
Yeah, he was doing nerdy things and.
No, but actually that time, I guess when I was like 9, when he started playing tennis, I always kind of did the same stuff as he did. So I played a lot of baseball during that time. When he started tennis, I started tennis. I got pretty good I was kind of one of the top ranked juniors in our section for when I was at my age, 9, 10, 11. I played a decent amount of golf for fun, but my main 2 sports my main 3, I guess. I played a lot of baseball, a lot of tennis, and a lot of table tennis.
Yes, we heard, speaking of Webby of Eddie and Webby's watching, and Ben, I confronted you at TOC about this, in that you told Webby you could kick his ass at ping pong using a spoon, And then I was like,
whoa,
I mean,
wait a minute.
come
I think
on.
this got out of hand. This got a little out of hand.
I heard it got to a toothpick.
I think
you were just
Lee Waters originally was talking me up big time, and she's like, Webby, I think Ben will beat you with a spoon. And I was like, okay, that's going a little far. I haven't beaten many people with a spoon. It's pretty difficult.
You did beat Kyle with a spoon.
No, I did not.
Oh, not Kyle. I stand corrected.
A spatula.
Just a spatula.
Okay.
But I told Webby I will play you with a cell phone because that's kind of one of the objects I prefer. I really like a nice coaster, a nice stone coaster.
Yeah,
I really love
that
those.
would be nice.
I will play him with a phone, and we'll see how it goes.
Nice.
And I'm feeling kind of confident because I've seen his pickleball game, and I'm not throwing any shade here, Webby, but I'm just saying I'm feeling confident.
Hey,
that's all.
Hey, this is the No Smoke Pickleball Show. You're supposed to throw shade, right? So
yeah,
if you need
exactly.
to throw shade,
All the shade is fine.
This is where you throw the shade.
All right, consider it thrown.
Yes.
The gloves
Webby.
have been thrown down.
Done.
It's in the gauntlet. So you guys must have had pretty good hand-eye coordination, than growing up. I mean, if you can hit a ping pong ball with a spoon or spatula.
I mean, like baseball, tennis, all this stuff is hand-eye, super heavy.
Well, I have a better story than that. But
Let's hear it. Let's hear
it. When he was 4 years old, he used to hit foosballs with a cue stick in the basement. Consistently, not just once in a while.
That's unbelievable.
Our basement has holes in the windows thanks to Ben hitting foosballs with the cue stick. So, but hand-eye coordination was never a problem for Ben.
Yeah, man, that is like legit.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So Ben, if you were following in Collin's footsteps, how did pickleball happen? Because obviously Collin is following in yours now.
Yeah, well, I mean, essentially, I got tired of tennis. I played too much of it when I was too young, and I kind of got sick of it.
Yeah.
So I stopped playing tournaments when I was 11, and I would play with him whenever he was around. I was his hitting partner whenever he was home, I guess. So that kind of kept my tennis game in good, fair shape, I guess, but not really. I stopped playing tournaments, so I wasn't really interested in it anymore.
Gotcha.
Then at 16, almost 17, I found pickleball kind of randomly. I was in Estero at a community we lived in for a while, Bellaterra, and that was one of the first communities to make pickleball courts. So one of the years we were down there, I was playing tennis with him, and I just saw pickleball played because they were right next to the tennis courts, and I kind of I like all racket or paddle sports, really. So I was like, oh, that game looks fun. I gave it like a try just with some wooden paddles or something. And I was like, oh, that was kind of fun. And then I didn't play again for like a month. And then I played again. I was like, oh, this game's really fun. And then the U.S. Open, the very first one, was it was like a month and a half after I started playing. And I just kind of met some people randomly that were really awesome and hooked me up with some good players. And I really just got lucky. A good area, good time. It was just a series of fortunate events.
Well,
and then you ended up finishing what in that year's U.S. Open?
No, he didn't medal. He didn't medal. I looked it up.
No, I got fifth in the open singles.
Oh, okay, yeah, but he didn't. Okay, I was like, I feel like Kyle thought you medaled your very first one, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, well, that's a common misconception because a lot of people think the very first U.S. Open I played is 2017, which I did win. But no, I actually did play in 2016. It was only a month before, so I only played one mixed age event, and I played the open singles, and that was it. So I didn't play a lot of events.
There wasn't a lot of live streaming. There wasn't a lot of live streaming in 2016. That's why, in 2017, everyone was like, "Who is this 18-year-old kid just crushing it?"
Well, he was probably like 17.
Were you 17 back then, or what?
I had just turned 18. I was 17 the very first one, and when I won, I just turned 18.
Gotcha.
And, I'm sure a lot of people didn't know me because I'd played. That was like my fourth tournament or something, because the year I started playing, I only played 3 tournaments.
Yeah. Well, so you guys being homeschooled, I heard you guys were kind of back and forth between Maryland and Florida. Was that always, or when did that start happening?
So we started going down to Florida when I was maybe 10 and you were 6, Ben? Does that sound about right?
12 and 6.
12 and 6, or somewhere around there. So we've been going down to near Naples for a long time. Our family had a house there for a long time, and our dad works for himself, and we were homeschooled, so we could really go down there for extended periods of time.
Did you start going down to do tennis and be there during the winter so you could keep playing more?
No, not necessarily. It worked out for me when I was playing tennis. But we just liked vacationing there, and it was for the whole family. So
nice.
It wasn't specifically for tennis.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Oh yeah, that's so. Collin, then were you still going after your tennis dream, like during when Ben was starting pickleball and kind of gaining speed? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, I was totally committed to tennis at that point. So I was traveling internationally, training every day, totally committed to tennis. So I was not interested in pickleball to begin with. I thought, Ben, you can have fun with that, but look, I got my priorities and enjoy pickleball, but it's a sport for old people.
Yeah, you were like, have fun with the seniors. I'll be on the tour.
Yeah, have fun with the seniors, but I was going after pro tennis, and needless to say, since then I've changed my mind.
Yeah. So what was the change of the mind?
What happened?
Well,
look at Ben with his
started
eyebrows.
sort of. Yeah. When I stopped playing pro tennis last year in August, I moved back to Naples, worked there for my old coach, and that's when I started playing a lot more. So in Naples, Ben had already introduced me. I started playing quite a bit with Simone, once in a while with Kyle, and obviously Naples is a pickleball mecca, so I started playing a lot more once I moved back. And I had already started to play a little bit when I lived in Tampa when I was playing, just for fun, like once a week, maybe twice a month, because I'd be traveling most of the time. But I got my start there in Bardmore, so I had played a little bit, and then when I moved back to Naples, a lot more. And then after that, I started playing a lot. So
that's awesome.
So
I was like, okay, I'm not.
No,
I wasn't playing tennis anymore, and it was just like something to compete in. And of course, I was good at it right away, just from tennis. And I had Ben to walk me through things from the beginning, so that really helped. And of course, it was like it just made sense at that point to play.
But why did you stop tennis? Why did that end? Were you just done with it?
Out, probably, maybe.
So I had been. I'd been out there a few years, and then I had set some goals for that year, so 6 months before, and I just didn't hit the goals that I wanted to, and I felt like I had been out there and been giving it my best for a long time, and I wasn't going to break through, so I thought it was time to move on and do something else.
All right, well, mature, very mature of you.
So Ben, right after your breakout in 2017, you kind of, let's say, trimmed up a bit. Did you start taking like your diet and exercise like more serious after that, or before that?
Well, more donuts.
Yeah, that's kind of funny because I think the part where I turned up was probably between like 2018 and now, because in 2017 I was in my senior year of high school. I wasn't really doing anything, so I was just like playing a bunch of sports all the time.
Yeah.
But like spring and fall, those were my first college semesters. So that's kind of when I was really just like studying a lot and making sure I got good grades and stuff. And I really stopped playing pickleball during the semester and only traveled for tournaments. So I'd say the difference is more between then and now than 2017 and then. Probably because I just started taking it a little more seriously, and I was like, okay, I kind of got a hang of this college thing now. I know how much I need to study and how I can organize my time to still play a little bit of pickleball and stay in good shape and all that. So yeah, I guess it just came down to experiencing just getting the hang of college, really.
Yeah, this is what I find so interesting is that so after the 2018 U.S. Open, Ben, you didn't medal at the 2018 U.S. Open in the Open men's, correct? You won singles, or you might have. Did you win singles in 2018?
No, that was not a great year at the U.S. Open. I got like 2 bronze medals, I think. I got a bronze in the mixed and a bronze in the singles, and I got 4th in the men's doubles or something like that.
That was the year that you lost to Joey Porter. Came back against the bronze. I was actually there. That night. I was playing tennis tournament the next day, but I came to Ben, so I remember that match.
Awesome. We heard
nothing. You guys are freezing.
You guys are a little breaking up, but you're back now. I think.
Can you hear us now?
Yeah,
yes.
We're good.
We're good?
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, I was just saying, I don't know where we cut out, but yeah, that was the year of the U.S. Open. I got 2 bronze medals in the Open divisions. So
and this is what I find interesting, Ben. So you went to school. I mean, you won the Atlanta Open with Dave, and then you went to school. I don't know how you survived all those chest bumps from Dave, but you went to school, and then somehow you improved by not playing as much, and then like you won nationals, and you've just been on a tear since then. Like, how did that happen without playing as much?
So I mean, I guess the biggest problem with the 2018 U.S. Open is it's just like a bad time of school. It's in like late April, so I've been in school for a few months, and I really haven't been playing much at all. And then Atlanta is actually right after my finals. So as soon as I finished finals, it was funny about Atlanta. I couldn't play singles in Atlanta because my last final was on that day.
Yeah.
So I guess in Atlanta, I don't really know how I did well there, just because I had been studying nonstop and not really playing any pickleball. I don't know. Maybe Dave played really well. I kind of forget that term now. But yeah, I'm not sure how that happened. But then usually what happens is as the summer goes on, I do better and better because I play more.
Yeah, that's
so
what I'm saying.
Usually are really good for me.
But like once you went to school, you won the 2018 nationals in an epic form. So like
that's also the thing. So that was my sophomore year in college. Yeah. So my freshman year was more difficult for me because it was just kind of like getting used to everything, and I kind of overstudied and overworked myself just to make sure I did okay.
Yeah.
And then kind of once I figured out how much I can balance things and how much I can practice, that kind of helped out. And also I just think playing that whole summer more than ever, because I mean each year I've been playing, it's only been like 3.5 years now, but each year I've been playing, I play more and more during the summer. So like this most recent summer I played like a ton.
Yeah.
And then the summer before that I played quite a bit. So I think kind of the difference from year to year is I don't get quite as rusty now, even when I'm in school, just because I've played a lot more. So I mean, I know I'm still improving, and that's not just in terms of skill level, that's also in terms of recovering what you know and getting a feel for the ball more quickly.
Okay.
So I think that really helps.
So Collin, you recently moved back to Maryland from Florida, right?
Yes.
So that was is that just like because you were done with tennis and now you're like, I don't need to be in Florida anymore, let's just go back home by the family?
No, actually I came here for a job.
Oh, okay.
Nice. Yeah, so Ben had done a pickleball camp for my current director. So Baltimore Country Club is where I work at now. And then I got offered a job up here as the summer head pro, and I decided to take that because I was working in Florida teaching pickleball down there. I had an assistant college coaching job for a men's team down in Florida, but once that was done, right after U.S. Open in May, the plan was to come up here, work here for the summer, and then go back to Florida right around this time of year. But once I got up here, the director, after a month, offered me the full-time position. So Ben was definitely wanting me to accept, and I did accept that. So I'll be
that's awesome.
Indefinitely for the time being.
Nice. Well, I'm sure the whole family appreciates having you back now.
Yes.
Wait, hold on.
I'm just gonna pause.
Hold on a second. You guys are freezing on
Hold,
the crowd.
Please. It's those college kids. They can't have good internet. Just kidding, guys.
Or you can still hear you.
Okay.
Know?
I know. No, I know.
So Collin, you started to take it more serious at this U.S. Open. That's when you started like, hey, I'm going to start to take a run at this too as well. Is that like when you first like started like tournament that you just decided that you were going to start playing more tournaments at? Was that your goal or?
Yeah, so I had been playing frequently from when I moved back to Naples in August up until U.S. Open, especially like the month before U.S. Open. I trained a lot with Simone. So the goal at the U.S. Open was to do well enough there to get a good contract so that I could play more over the summer, because up to that point, I wasn't sponsored by anyone. I was just using Ben's old paddles, and I wasn't traveling, so there was not really any point to be sponsored. So I wanted to try to do well so that I would get a good offer. But in the end, Simone actually set up a meeting before the U.S. Open started to kind of take the pressure off of me with Paddle Tech and Prince, by extension Prince. So we verbally agreed to something before the U.S. Open started, like the day before, and then we ended up signing a week after.
Speaking of sponsorships,
Prince also.
So Ben, you were with Engage, correct? At this well, not at the last U.S. Open, but I heard through the grapevine that you were almost a Prince
player as well. And that didn't happen.
Yeah, so I was, so basically, before, I mean, how contracts work, when they're going to expire, and then you talk with companies beforehand that once that your full one ends. One moment.
Oh, no.
So that once your old one ends, the other one can kind of start, right when the other one ends. So I've been talking with Prince, because I knew just the people from Paddletech. I was familiar with them, and Paddletech, Paddletech Prince, they're basically the same thing. And I just knew a lot of people at Paddletech, so that was kind of the route I was going for a while, and I was mainly talking to them. And I wanted to see what they had to offer, and I knew their paddles were good, and so it was just a lot of good things that lined up and made sense. So I was talking with them, and I never even really considered Franklin. I didn't know that they even wanted to get into the pro level kind of side of things, and they just happened to talk to me and approach me about it like a month before my contract was expiring, and I hadn't committed to anything with Prince yet, so I was more than happy to see what they had to offer too. And when you got a few companies talking to you, that's awesome, just because the more options you have, the better.
Yep.
And really, to quote The Godfather, they made me an offer I couldn't refuse. So
were you a little bit nervous?
The way it went down.
Were you a little bit nervous that Franklin has never really been known for making like pro type paddles? I mean, they made a lot of entry paddles, but were you a little nervous going with them?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a lot of factors in that, and so I'm very particular about my paddles, and I need to know what I'm playing with is really, really good. So that was the first thing I cleared with them. I was just like, I mean, if you can't make a paddle I'm satisfied with, this is a complete no-go. It's not going to happen no matter what, really. Basically, they told me they're extremely confident that they can make something I'm happy with, provided that I kind of help them along with that process and give them what they need. And also with the provision that they gave me some leeway to where if I wasn't satisfied, I wouldn't be kind of locked in, if you know what I mean.
Awesome.
And it was also kind of cool to me that I kind of lead the way for them in terms of their pro paddles. Because I don't know if, let's see, I can quiz Kyle here. What's my major at the University of Maryland, Kyle?
I like this. I like that you're quizzing Kyle now.
It used to be business, but now it's engineering.
What kind of engineering?
Wow, okay. Good so far.
Oh, I know. What was
it? I want to say it's mechanical, but it's not. I don't know what it is. I'm going to say mechanical.
It's not.
It's close.
It's materials.
Materials. I knew it started with an M.
Yeah. So materials are really what I'm interested in, and creating pickleball paddles is kind of in that whole area of expertise, really. So I was kind of really interested in designing something from the ground up for a company that has not a lot of experience in creating those kind of things. So that was kind of a plus to me too, just designing it. So I got to, and then I got to something I really liked. So everything kind of just lined up and worked out with them really well.
That's awesome.
Speaking of your signature paddle, why is it taking so long?
It's coming out 11:01. Hey, there's a plug for you.
Yeah. Thank you, Kyle. Very good. So basically, what I can put it down to is it's not them, it's me. I'm very finicky, and I want to make sure I get everything perfectly correct. So the U.S. Open version I played with, which was when it was very first even seen, that was not the final version. Okay, so that's what I played with. It was a temporary, and I'm still I'm not really making edits anymore. We do know what we're releasing, but we are releasing 2 versions actually, which a lot of people don't know. But the version that is being released, 1101, is that is what I played with the U.S. Open. And that's kind of really the only difference between that one and the other one being released is one's thinner and one's thicker. No. They just have different attributes, and I have been using both actually. So at Vegas, I use the one that's the shipping 1101, the thinner one, and then a lot of other tournaments I use the thicker one.
Yeah.
And those are for different things.
Cool. So Christine also made her way over to Franklin. How has she adapted to the paddle? Because it seems like it's kind of different from what she was using the Banto.
I think it's pretty. I think it's semi-similar. It's a little bit longer, but the shape's pretty similar. The core is pretty similar, but then the surface is different. So it's close-ish. The kind of dimensions are similar, but other than that, it's a little different.
And Collin, like with the Prince paddles, do you dislike the shape of the Prince paddles compared to Paddle Tech, or was there a difference for you? And like when you were looking at your sponsorship offers?
So I had been playing with Ben's old Mavericks until I signed with Prince. So it was a really easy transition for me because Ben designed the Prince Quantum pretty much exactly after the Maverick, more or less. I mean, it has the Prince like rounded shape. Yeah. That's the signature of the Prince paddles. So it's really easy for me to switch, and I actually like it better. I think the rounded shape makes it really solid for blocking, and just overall plenty of pop on the paddle. So really easy transition, and I just love it.
That's nice. Ching wants to know, Ben, what version did you play with at the Franklin Masters?
The Franklin Masters. Oh, okay. Well, good question. I tested both there because I was kind of wondering. So with the Franklin ball, which is a little softer than a Dura, sometimes you need a little more pop, which corresponds to a thinner paddle. So originally, I played my first round with the thinner one, and then I played everything after that with the thicker one.
All right.
Cool.
Excellent. Good to know. So on a slightly changing topics, you guys are really good friends with Deckel Barr.
Yes.
And have been for a while. So do you know him, Collin? Do you know him originally through tennis? Is that how you guys got to know him?
Yeah. So Deckel's been my best friend for a while now, and I met him years ago at a tennis tournament in Vancouver, Canada. So it was just kind of random. We got assigned the same housing, and it was just kind of a strange housing that week, to say the least. And we kind of had some bonding over that, and we became really good friends and better friends through the years. We traveled together a lot. He's from Israel, and I've stayed at his house many times over there to play tournaments. He stayed at my house, and so we both got into pickleball at the same time, and he's been doing really well. Just won a tournament yesterday, so really good friend of mine, a good friend of the Johns family.
That's awesome. I'm trying to think if he was in the finals today, because he's playing in Tyson. They're playing in Tyson's tournament, right? Is that where he's at right now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the last I saw, I think they lost to Matt Goebel and Brian Ashworth, and they were in the back draw.
Yeah, yeah. I think they lost because right before we started, Brian and Matt were playing Riley and
Lindsay.
No, not Lindsay. It's men's.
Oh, I wasn't paying attention. Sorry.
Riley and who was he playing with?
Wes.
Wes. That's who he's playing with. Yeah, so that's what's going on?
I don't know. I know we're hearing much of echo.
Hold on a second.
Oh no.
Is it the headphones?
I think it's the headphones. All right, we're getting some different ones. All right, I'm going to keep it going. Can you guys still hear me? Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. So on a Stacy Deacon wants to know why you didn't watch Steve's interview that we did with him.
Let's see, what time was the interview at? Because I was probably either in class or studying.
It was Wednesday at like 7:30 at night, 8:30 your time.
Oh, I was playing tennis actually.
Oh, well, there you go.
But don't worry, I went back and watched a little bit of it because I
needed
to see what Pops had to say.
Did you see that, babe? I was just showing off some leg.
Yeah. For anyone who doesn't know, Ben calls Steve Pops because he's old enough to be his father.
Because he's why? I want to hear that, sir.
I don't know if he should be doing that, but Steve seems to take it very well.
Dad?
I mean, Ben, to be honest, aren't a lot of people in pickleball old enough to be your dad / grandfather /
Steve Dawson.
Scott Moore. Scott Moore could be your grandfather.
Yeah, all the seniors really are plenty old enough.
That is so true. So slightly different topic as well. I like to bounce around. We heard, Ben, that at the 2018 Nationals, you got like food poisoning or something happened the night before Men's Day. And were you like legit puking in between matches all day?
Yeah, I got food poisoning on, let's see, so it went Thursday. I got it on Thursday night. Is that how it worked? No, Friday night. So Friday we played all the men's doubles up till the semifinals or however they did it. I ate that night and I woke up the next morning feeling not so great. We played the winners final and I was feeling like worse and worse. And then after we lost the winners final, I did throw up throwing up all throughout that day. And it ended up being, because, I mean, I knew I had to keep drinking and hydrating. Otherwise, I was just not going to be even able to function. And I'm sure you kind of know how throwing up works a little bit. So when you throw up, you actually feel a little better for a brief time.
Yep.
And then you start feeling sicker and sicker, and then you throw up again, and it just keeps repeating itself if you keep drinking. So, yeah, basically, I threw up, I think it was something like almost a gallon of liquid throughout that day. So yeah, it was not a great day.
Wow.
But luckily I had a little help and took a bunch of different stuff to try to keep me going. And then in the final, I think adrenaline took over more than anything, and I was feeling okay enough to complete that match. But a funny story, I almost threw up during the medal ceremony. I was close to puking on Kyle's shoes.
Oh no!
And I told him, you may need to back up. I'm about to throw up. And he's like, bro, don't ruin this for me right now. Hold it in. We're on CBS or ESPN or whatever. Hold it in.
You would have made ESPN for sure.
Oh yeah, I mean, like that should have
been
like mainstream ESPN right
ESPN,
there.
not top 10.
I really should have done it for the good of pickleball.
Yeah, for the good of pickleball. I mean,
so yeah, that was that day, and I was happy I could hold up and win with Kyle.
Oh my gosh.
And then I really couldn't eat or drink much of anything that night, and I just kind of crashed immediately after the doubles. And I tried to play singles the next day and did my best. It was just difficult to drink or eat anything, so that doesn't really work out so well with singles. But I got a bronze, so I was okay with it.
You know.
So we'll just take it back to the one point. We kind of mentioned it earlier, but the infamous lob on game point for them. Well, first...
Wait a second, Kyle. They saved two. Do you remember what happened on the previous point, how they saved that
I can't remember that one. I know...
Don't do Ben wrong here.
Oh, didn't you hit an Ernie? Didn't you Ernie somebody?
Yeah, he saved it with an Ernie.
Yes, an Ernie.
So just to get to the lob, Ben with food poisoning, Ernie to save one. So let's continue.
Okay, digs deep.
Man, that really tracked my memory right there. I really had to think about it. But first of all, Kyle shanked one that barely got over the net. Do you remember that on that point?
So it was funny. He did a little step back and attack, and Matt ripped it back, I think. Gosh darn it, you don't have very good earphones.
Well, you got them for me.
I know. We're changing ours too. Hold, please. Everybody's headphones suck.
I think these are the ones that I got washed.
Oh no! Oh hey, we're back. Okay, we're back. That's better.
Okay, yeah. So I think on that match point, what was really close, even closer than the lob, was
they're talking.
Kyle kind of hitting an attack, Matt ripping it back, and then Kyle shanked it and it hit the net tape and trickled over. And then we went on for a couple more shots there, and then he hit the lob, and then we got it back. So it was really the shank into the net, and then the lob that really got us.
Talk about winning by the skin of your teeth.
You guys know all about that. I mean, we were talking about that earlier. They're infamous now. Goes down the legendary. The brothers 10-1 comeback.
Yep, that's true. That's true.
Was that probably the 10-1 comeback? Was that probably the most satisfying win of your career?
It was the most surprising. Yeah, I like gratifying or satisfying. Honestly, it might have been that the nationals we were just talking about, just because I was really sick and I didn't really have much expectations at that point, and it just felt really good to kind of hold up with Kyle there, just because we didn't think we were gonna do okay, and then we just kind of pulled it out. Plus the whole match points and stuff, and it was just a great atmosphere and everything. But kind of most surprising or incredible comeback.
It was maybe the most lucrative win that you guys have had, right?
That is true. That is true.
So there's that.
It was quite the purse, yeah.
Yes, it was a good weekend. It was a good weekend,
especially when Ben double dips and gets himself a nice little chunk of change.
Just a smooth 10K.
Yeah.
Not too bad for a broke college
all
kid.
A day's work.
Yeah.
Beer money for Ben.
Exactly.
It's just, you know what? I don't even call it a professional sport or a professional thing. I just call it my part-time college job. That's all.
That's true. That's fair enough.
I just play a sport part-time for my job.
I just call it a poor man's athlete because no one knows or cares about pickleball outside the general niche, right?
Man. so true. So yeah, you guys are, well, both, even Collin, I mean, you haven't been playing long, but both of you guys have had a pretty impressive list of partners that you guys have played with through pretty much like the who's who of the top pickleball players world. I know next year, I think, Ben, you're playing a decent amount with Simone. And then I think you guys probably together are playing a decent amount next year.
Yeah, I have a couple with some other people, but mostly I'm playing with him.
Do you guys find mixing up the partners as you kind of go like you played obviously with Kyle a lot, Ben, and that's of course worked out really well, but now I feel like you're sort of rotating through Collin probably as you're coming in, you've done different partners and things. Do you feel like it's good to kind of mix it up? Is it good to get in a groove with like one partner and just kind of like keep going until you wear out the partnership?
To everything. I think it's really important to at least experiment with different partners for a while just to figure out what works for you and who you really sync well with and your game styles mesh and everything. And then there's also the advantage of just playing with one person. You get very used to them. Like at this point, I've played with Kyle the most of anybody, and we're usually kind of on the same wavelength. We know what each other are going to do quite often. So the more experienced you are with the partner, usually just the better you play together. So I'd say ideally, as a person kind of looking for partners, I would experiment with a bunch of different partners, find what you like, and then find somebody that you can stick with for most play tournaments and stuff. But then it's also just really fun to mix it up. So if you don't really see a big disadvantage or anything, or if you play well with a few different people, and I just think it's still very fun to mix it up and play with different people. So
Collin, do you agree?
Very much a lot about getting fun.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said for getting used to playing with a particular partner. I mean, you've seen people like Matt and Lucy play so well together because they play every tournament together. So starting next year, Ben and I will play pretty much every tournament together. So we'll definitely have better and better chemistry as time goes on. We're going to know what we're going to do on the court, and I think there's a lot to be said about that. And I feel like we cover each other's weaknesses well and exploit, just really set each other up well for our strengths. So I think it'll be a long, good partnership.
So, Ben, how does Kyle feel about this? You drop him as a partner, and then you take his mixed partner. How's he feeling about that?
Well, Kyle's a good friend, so he was completely understanding. I mean, he knows Collin's my brother, so obviously it's really nice to play with him. So he was completely understanding on that. And I mean, he got Matt right out of the deal, so I don't think he got a real short end of this stick. And we're still playing a couple tournaments together next year, so he's always very chill. He's just like, hey, whatever you want to play, let me know, and it's all good. And then on the mixed note, I mean, people shift partners all the time, really. So yeah, somebody asked me to play a lot of tournaments, and I'm never going to turn down the number one player in the world.
I mean,
so Kyle completely understood that too.
It's almost unfair, the two number one players in the world playing with each other.
I know, right? Isn't that like not
That's
allowed?
Not fair.
I think it's very allowed.
Nice. So Ben, is it right? You're the co-owner of Pickleball Getaways?
Yeah, that's right.
With Deckel, right?
Deckel Bar, yeah.
And you guys have gone to Ecuador quite a few times that I've seen. Is that just a specific place that you guys feel strongly about, or what's the connection
Ecuador,
there?
Actually, we've only been once.
Oh, okay.
Deckel's been twice, but not for Pickleball Getaways. We've done one trip there. That was this August.
Okay.
It was really, really fun. We had we limited it to 16 people just because it was a kind of what we call a tour destination. So we kind of tour the country while we play pickleball.
Okay.
And in that case, we don't want to take too many people because it's not very manageable. Then we do resort style trips too. We went to Mexico in January of this year, and like 50 there for that. So that's more instruction and kind of vacation focused than touring focused. So they're two different styles of trips, and those were our first two trips of the company. And then next year we're planning 3. We're going to Mexico again, same resort, then Punta Cana in March, and then Portugal in January.
Wow. Okay. Very cool.
Yeah, so it's going really well.
Nice.
Collin, do you? This is kind of back to what we're talking about. Do you feel any pressure playing with Ben, considering like he could play with anybody he wants and he decides to play with you?
A little bit, because I mean expectations are high.
Yeah.
But then again, he's still my little brother always.
So you can still beat him in the ground. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, I could. If he's being a dick, I can just turn to him and tell him, "You're my."
Dude, you can't say that on live.
Yeah,
yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, I definitely
On
can.
this live stream.
On this one, you can.
And then
it's the no smoke.
Yeah, no smoke show. So I can turn to him and tell him, "Look, you're the little brother here. You be quiet and behave yourself." So, but yeah, I mean, you don't want to get him less than gold. So there's a little bit of pressure in that sense. But it's also relaxing to know that you have the best partner in pickleball.
Well,
yeah, because it kind of feels like if you win, it's because of Ben, and if you lose, it's because of you. I know, seriously, that's
no.
When you're playing,
he proved at the Franklin tournament. He can
I'm just saying when.
Yeah.
So like I play a lot with Zane Navratil in tournaments around here, and it just feels like if I don't play well, we lose because of me. And
no, that's not what you do, Kyle. You just say, "Hey, Zane, I got all the balls, and we won." So we won because of me, obviously.
Yep. It's mentality.
I wish I could think that way, but
you can construe something.
Yeah. Seriously, it's like it's all perspective. You can make whatever you want out of the perspective that you have.
That is true. Well, I was going to ask you guys too before. So you guys obviously have been starting very young. Obviously, like Ben, you got into pickleball at like 16. Collin, of course, you got into tennis very young. So that's whole thing. Do you feel like coming into a sport, especially at such a high level, at such a young age, just like the mentality you have to have is different than coming in older? Like obviously the big one, like Anna Leigh Waters, she's 12 coming in, like top level player. But of course, like the mentality a 12-year-old has is vastly different than someone that's older. So how do you feel like getting into a sport at a really young age sort of affects how you move forward in the sport?
You feel that one.
I don't know what you're trying to ask.
So
it's just hard. It's hard being a kid playing at like a top level professional sport with a bunch of adults. Like obviously in tennis, you're playing with people your own age, but in pickleball, you're playing against adults.
Yeah. So in pickleball, I mean, I think it's part of the appeal of pickleball that players that are so young, like Anna Leigh, can play with players that are so old, and be on the same court and compete and have it be a good match. I mean, I think the oldest player at the Franklin Masters was Dave. And he played Anna Leigh there, right? Yeah. So we had a 50-year-old on
4 times her age.
Yeah,
a 50-year-old playing a 12-year-old in the sport, and it was competitive. So I think it just shows how pickleball can really bring together a lot of different ages, and so many people can play it at so many different levels. So I think it's great for the sport. Obviously, Dave and Anna Leigh approached the sport very differently. But I don't know how you could ever really change that, and it's probably a good thing. So as time goes on, I'm sure we'll see some younger players coming up with tennis backgrounds. Maybe not if pickleball gets bigger and bigger.
Okay, two-part question.
A strong tennis background certainly going to help you be
for sure
really good at pickleball.
All right, two-part question. Do you guys practice more than you play? And what do you think your biggest weaknesses are in your game?
Practice more than we play. So
how much practice do you do?
I would say that just varies so much. So while I'm in school, we practice with each other. I don't know. I mean, once every 2 weeks or something in general. But then once there's a tournament coming around, we'll try to maybe do it like twice a week. So that's how much I'd say we practice. And when we do our sessions are 2.5 hours maybe or something like that. And then whenever I'm on the road during the summer, I'll play. I mean, as much as I possibly can. You're going from tournament to tournament. So, I mean, it's probably more playing than practicing while I'm on the road, and more practicing than playing while I'm in school.
Yeah, for myself, I can say that I practice more than I play.
And then what's your question, Kyle?
So, what's your biggest weakness in your game?
Oh, biggest weakness. Well, I think personally, you just told me something that you think is I'm not very good at.
Let's not give anything away.
Okay, but I will say one. I think I'm really, really bad at calling timeouts.
Okay, I like that. That's fine. The opponents can't get anything out of that.
Yeah.
I don't.
I will just power through.
You're horrible at calling timeouts. So as a team, I call our timeouts.
Gotcha. That's a good. good balance there.
So I just always tell my partners, whoever it is, I'm like, please just call timeouts. I won't call them, so just call them for me. And just a little shout out here, I think the best person in pickleball to call a timeout, he does it impeccably.
Oh yeah, Wesley Gabriel's hands
how
down.
to call a timeout. It is like 3 free points for him. It's like, oh, I need some points right now. Timeout.
I mean, Wes would probably be the best player in pickleball if he had unlimited.
He would be unbeatable.
He would be unbeatable.
Amazing. So, Collin, what's yours?
What's your biggest weakness?
What's my biggest weakness? I would say I still get fooled by the top players from the kitchen line more often than I should. I think it goes down to experience a lot, but learning how to defend from the kitchen line, the tricky shots that they have, like off the bounce, I could get better at that. Especially in Texas, they were pulling the trigger at me a lot, and I just wasn't getting the ball down as much as I should. So I think that's a really tough thing to do in pickleball because it's kind of unique that you're so close together. You don't have much reaction time, so if you're leaning the wrong way, you're really going to have a tough time. So yeah. I could get a little bit better at that, and something I've been working on lately.
So I think anyone that's ever watched you guys play, either individually or together, would pretty easily say, Collin, you're probably the more emotional player, I'll just say. Get a little,
well, compared to Ben.
Well, yeah, I mean, Ben's so just like smooth, easy. Everyone's always like,
she's like,
does
is Ben even
care?
trying?
Does
like,
he even care? What's going on? He's just like standing around.
Guys, I'm totally trying. I try as hard as
no kidding.
I just
stone cold.
Exactly.
Stone
well,
cold
so
killer.
Collin is a little more like reactive, which is fine, totally cool. Like nothing crazy. You're not like, throwing Warnick paddles or anything like.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Throwing a little shade there, Warnick.
He knows.
A little side swipe.
Jeff watching right now?
But do you feel like you guys have
no paddles take flight?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But do you guys feel like you have a good balance in terms of like
mentality,
styles and mental game? Like Ben's super even, you're a little more like emotional. Do you feel like it's a good balance?
Yeah, I think those balances are really important, and they kind of even get better. Like some of it is just personality, and some of it just gets better. You know what each other kind of need as you play together more. I'd say my kind of calm and just kind of reinforcing things with him and supporting him works well for him because he needs that sometimes. And then I'd say anybody that can show a little fire sometimes and can get me going can be helpful. So yeah, I do think it is a good balance between us.
Yeah, I play better with someone that takes the pressure off of me because I put too much on myself a lot of times. So I play better with someone who's more chill. Like
nice. But Ben, the big question is, have you ever thrown a paddle?
I threw one once. Yeah.
Yes, people, you heard it here first. Ben Johns has thrown a paddle. It happened.
Yeah, Lauren, why don't you tell the people about your two paddle
I'm not very proud of it.
It happened on a live feed, actually.
So there's evidence.
In Texas, it happened in Texas less than a month ago. We lost the main draw in the third round in 3 games, a close one to Adam and Joey. So, I didn't throw it very far. I just threw it at the fence like 15 feet away. Unfortunately, it hit the pole in the fence and the handle snapped off. So not only did I throw my first paddle, I also broke my first paddle. So that wasn't a good day for me.
We won't go into practice, like paddle tosses in practice
when
you play against me because, yeah, we won't go there.
Well, I have thrown a paddle at and hit Kyle.
So she's had 2 paddle throws in her career.
Intentionally.
Some of us guys love a little fire in our girls. So I appreciate that.
And then I did also throw a paddle
over a
fence, and it went a lot farther than I was anticipating.
And then almost hit a cup.
They just like catch the wind and just like
he just didn't realize it was going to catch wind.
He had no idea there were courts over there with people. Right oh my gosh! But yeah, I threw mine into the street.
I heard Rob Cassidy looked up and was like, "Oh, I just saw a paddle fly overhead." I was like, "Shut up, Rob! You're so stupid. There's no paddles flying in the air."
I see it. I see
Rob Cassidy did say that.
He definitely was like,
"Oh, a paddle."
It would be Rob Cassidy knowing that. He would just be randomly looking up.
100%. 100%. Yeah. Oh man, that's so great. So yeah, you guys have like a big year coming up. Obviously, Ben, I mean, you're pretty much at the top right now. What are your objectives, goals for like the next year?
Because sometimes it's hard to be the hunter. It's easier to be the hunter than the hunted. So how do you deal with that?
Yeah, everybody's coming for you, Ben. They're coming for
Collin
you.
And Collin now. It's both of them.
Well, Collin's,
It helps that I don't take the game too seriously. I am there to have fun, but I'm also competitive. I also just want to win as much as possible. So I'd say some definable goals I have are, so I won the Triple Crown at TOC, and that's one of the 3 majors. So my biggest goals are win the Triple Crown at the U.S. Open and Nationals, which they're a little lofty. I know that's going to be really difficult, but I think it's a good thing to shoot for. Unfortunately, I can't go for the Nationals this year because I'm not playing mixed, but next year I'll try to do that at the U.S. Open.
What about your goals, Collin?
I think well, that is one. I plan to beat him at some point. I'm like 0-6
singles.
At this point. Well, no,
yes,
actually, double.
You have not beat him.
He got me 3 times. Of my 4 losses in Vegas, 3 were to him. So I'd like to stop losing to him quite so frequently.
When he lost. Remember? His singles match at TLC.
Yeah.
Collin?
What about it?
The call. The infamous
what
call?
about it? Do we need to talk about it?
I think we need to talk about it.
Do we need to talk about it?
I mean,
I don't know if we should or shouldn't talk about it.
I know, right?
I want to get him riled up.
Okay, fine.
Let's
off limits.
People know.
I mean, you can. I just might have to.
Okay, Collin. Do you think it was in or out? Do you think it was in or out?
It was out.
Okay, that's all we have to. That's all we have to know.
So there we go. Good. There we go. Done.
Over with. No one knows what we're talking about. But in or out?
Oh my goodness. I mean, I don't.
Yeah. I mean,
Lauren was live streaming.
Lauren was the one doing the live feed, so it's on Lauren's live feed.
It is. So anyone can go back and watch it. It's it's there. You can create your own opinion, which of course there are differing opinions of where that ball was. So, what are you going to do? But Collin, you did not kick the fence during that match, so there's that.
There is that. I mean, I may or may not have thrown objects off the court, but that's another
that's no one cares about that though.
I love all the side swipes.
I mean, there's so much. There was so much
going on there.
Shoot, I was just going to ask something, and now you made me lose my train of thought.
I apologize. Okay, so Collin, where do you think of your singles game? Like, you're almost like you've made some big leaps. Do you think you can overtake your brother in this next year?
Well, we'll see at Nationals. We'll be training together, and well, let the better brother win. I mean, if we get 1-2, I'm not really going to complain whether I get the gold or the silver, but I'll certainly try my best to beat him.
I mean, Collin, does it like chap your ass just a little bit that like your little brother's kicking your ass in pickleball?
Well, he has a head start in this.
That is true.
Just give me some time, and then order will be restored.
Okay, all right. Fair enough.
Ben, I have an older brother as well, and I used to beat the crap out of him too, so I feel you.
My boy.
Oh man. I mean, we haven't really talked much. Are your sisters athletic? Are they playing pickleball at all? Are they girly girls? What's their deals?
Play casually, play for fun.
Okay.
None of them really play competitively in sports anymore. Our oldest she's a good athlete, but she never really had any interest, so we don't really have any athletes out of the girls, but they do enjoy pickleball.
Well, that's fun.
With me on this, so we're trying to get her more into tournaments.
Well, hey, you have the 3-year-old that you can groom however you'd like.
Oh yeah, for sure. We'll get her everything.
Yeah, she's already hitting pickleball.
Yeah, get her out on that court. She'll be the next 8-year-old superstar. It'll just we all know how it goes when it starts super early. You really gotta really get them out there. If she's walking, she needs to be on the pickleball court.
That's right.
At least watch pickleballs being hit. She's watched more live streams of pickleball than any 3-year-old in the United States. I assure you.
Awesome. Perfect. I was going to say, Ben, I remember what I forgot is that Steve Deacon, when he was on, his goal was to beat you.
So Dad's coming for you. Dad is coming for you.
Papa's coming for you.
Pops, that's a great goal, and I will do my best for it to never, ever happen.
He will support you and love you, but he will not allow it to happen.
But he really, really wants to beat me.
Yeah,
yep.
But I think a more achievable goal is to win a hands rally with Ben.
Yes. Ooh, that's
he's
true.
Done that before.
He's done that before. Well, once, I think.
No, Steve has the fastest backhand release in the game, most likely. He wins a good amount of them. So.
Yeah, I still think you have the best hands in pickleball, Ben, but that's just my opinion. You can really take anything pretty much from low to high. I guarantee you could probably hit any ball low to high. Is that correct? Probably.
You mean like from the shoelaces?
Yeah, I think you could.
Rolls here? We're talking about rolls here. Okay, yeah, I like my rolls.
Ben does have the best rolls in pickleball. I think that is true.
Yeah. So there's a series that's coming out, the Southern Midwest series that's coming out. You guys planning on playing in that?
I think I will be playing a good amount of them, possibly not all of them. There's one that's near finals for me, so I'm not going to play that one. I think that's the one in May. And then I think one conflicts with my Portugal trip, so I'm probably not going to play that one, and then play all the other ones. Yeah.
Nice.
Pretty much nowadays, are you guys only playing in tournaments that have cash payouts?
I don't think I've played a non-money tournament for like at least 2 years.
And so that's like a good thing. Where do you guys think the sport's going then? You think it's on its up and up, or is this like the peak, or what do you guys think?
Definitely not the peak. No, absolutely not. There's so much more new stuff coming out just from last year to this year, and this year to next year. It's a massive increase, so I expect it's going to keep going that way.
Yeah, we hope that the 10 grand was the first of many of those, and possibly more. But we'll see. It's still got a long way to go.
Collin, are you counting on Ben for a little walking around money? Is that what's happening here?
For what?
A little walking around money?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you're just like riding those coattails all the way to the top, and you're just like, yeah, I'll take half that check. That's cool.
Well, see, we have a deal worked out. I told him at first, I was like, really, we should be splitting it via how much percentage of the court I take. So that's like what, at least 60-40, maybe 70-30. Mm-hmm. And then he returned with, well, I get like 70% of the balls, so I think it cancels out.
Yeah, so we agreed 50-50 is
I think that's fair enough. And I mean, Collin is older, so I feel like he just like, can't be taking more money than him.
Push him around that
way. Exactly. Well, yeah, I mean, I think we're pretty good here. You guys got anything you want to talk about or plug or promote?
I kind of want to know what Kyle's got in the vault on us. I mean, he started the interview so strong on the info.
And Lauren, I kind of wanted to know like what kind of questions you had up your sleeve. Like it seemed like you had a lot.
Oh, we forgot to.
You know what? I think you have a bone to pick with me about how I play mixed doubles.
Yes. How did you know that? Yes. How did you know that? That's good inside information.
Who told you that? Was it me? Did I tell you that because I was talking about it on a live stream?
Oh, no, it was Morgan Evans.
Freaking Morgan, man. That guy, I do not have a bone to pick. I feel like it's not... I don't feel like I disagree with it, but I just feel like at the same time, it's not 100% necessary for you to be going like sideline to sideline when you're playing with like really good ladies.
Ben, like we almost came to blows. We almost came to blows in this.
Wow.
Fisticuffs.
I'm flattered.
Because I go, the guy's the best player in the world. Any ball he can get his hands on, that's a win.
I just want to justify myself slightly.
Okay, please do.
There is reasoning, and I know how it looks, and it does look bad sometimes. So the reason I might go side to side sometimes is not because I don't have confidence in my partner, because I do play with some of the best girls in the world, and I think they can hit amazing shots, and they can hold their side of the court fine. The reason being more often is that I think pressure is what makes players good. The more pressure you apply, the more people miss and the more you win. So generally when a girl's trying to keep the guy uninvolved, if that guy can get in more in any way, shape, or form, the other girl will make more errors. So even when I go over there just to hit a shot that if we hit to the exact same shot, if we're hitting the exact same shot the exact same way, and not one is better than the other, I would still rather take that ball just so that my opponents will miss more.
And you just leave a lot of space behind you, so then they might want to hit it behind you, and then
it's bait.
And then you get the ball again anyways. That's what I say.
Yes, exactly.
I'm like, that's again, like, I'm not disagreeing with the strategy. I'm just saying that, like, sometimes it looks like, I'll say the only thing I disagree with is, like, sometimes it looks like you guys have not had that conversation ahead of time where you're going to be like, hey, sometimes I might shove you off the court, so get out my way. And so sometimes it looks like they'll be like going for it, and you're just like, excuse me. Like,
for sure, it does look like that sometimes. So also clarifying on that point, oftentimes we'll miscommunicate, and sometimes I'll go too far, sometimes I'll get burned, or sometimes we miss a shot because I go too far. But it is always communicated beforehand that they do ask me to take as much as I'm comfortable with. I always kind of clear that, especially with anybody that I'm not familiar playing with, and oftentimes I'll be more passive if it's somebody new. So you do definitely have to clear that with your partner and make sure it's all good before you start doing stuff like that.
All right, well, fair enough. See, I
think it does end up for the best.
I appreciate this explanation.
It did work out at TOC well.
That is true.
I did do it a lot there.
Yeah,
but Simone might hit you in the head with her paddle if you come in.
That's true.
I have no problem with Simone hitting a lot more balls because she does a lot of things better than I ever could. So.
Yeah, to the females' credit, like the last tournament final we were in the finals, and I was cramping so bad that Zane had to take as much court. I thought it was great. I just had to stand in one spot. that was great for me.
I mean,
so I'll take that. I mean, when you were in TLC playing with Jessie, she looked like she was hurt, and she was just standing there, just like staying in a particular spot, which was great.
So dang good at what she does.
Exactly, that's what I mean.
And she counters well.
She counters, yeah.
You can do that. That is what pickleball is mostly. So.
Speaking of Jessie, we would love to have her on the show, and she said she's super nervous to come on.
That's a shout out, Jessie. You know what? I will hold your hand through.
Thank you. See, tell Jessie it'll be okay.
Just come on. Lauren's really cool.
We're not.
Kyle's
Right?
Thank
Exactly.
you. I'll take okay.
He's very well informed. But if Jessie talks half as well as she hits her two-handed counter backhand, she'll do just.
I know, right? And like she's like, she's so good. She's like definitely one of the biggest people to watch coming up this next year. So I'm like super excited to see her play more. So
it just kills me, you guys, because we've had Riley and Lindsay on, and they were both super nervous before they came on, and we had Steve, who was super. He says he was a little nervous,
come on.
And I'm just like,
cucumber. All right.
Maybe
I'm like, you guys.
I don't believe it either.
I'm like, you guys.
Pops wasn't nervous at all. He was just rearing to go.
I'm just like, you guys played on center court at the U.S. Open, and you're afraid to talk to a little.
I know, it's just us.
It's just
We're
us,
not
a bunch of
scary.
scrubs, you know. Like this isn't massive pressure over here. Like, come on.
Oh, you know what, Lauren? I forgot one topic. Your dad is a good topic.
Yeah.
My Papa McLaughlin.
Daniel is the man. Okay, let me talk on Daniel.
Yeah, let's talk about Papa.
He was one of the first players I played with where I was like, this guy is really, really good. At that point, I was just banging away, and he would just punish me for hitting the wrong shots. And I was like, how am I losing hands to this like 68-year-old man? This is infuriating.
Papa, he's gonna love this.
Yeah, so he kind of owned me the first few times I played him. I was about a month in, so I can't tell you guys how highly I think of Daniel McLaughlin.
So
yay!
he
thinks very highly of you
he
guys
does.
as well.
And he was a national champion at Michigan.
He
player.
was a national champion tennis player, junior champion, and played at Michigan, and so
the man is legit.
Yeah, he knows what's up.
So, are you guys going to be in Florida anytime soon, or you guys heading down there? Late December. Are you guys playing in that global tournament? World Global
Championship.
Yeah. Awesome. We will hopefully maybe be there. But actually, I was looking through my notes and seeing and we forgot to talk about, Ben, you've gotten to play with Andre Agassi and Andy Roddick on doing those exhibition stuff or whatever. And we've talked before about, like, if the old tennis pros decide, like, oh, hey, like, I'm bored, like, oh, there's some money I can make on the side playing pickleball and get into it. Like, how long do you think it would take, like, those guys to be, like, top of the game?
She thinks instantly. I'm like,
that's not true. That is a lie. I never said that. Somebody said that.
Pump the brakes here.
That's very reasonable, and I think a lot of people are wondering that. So it's kind of funny how certain tennis players pick it up. I've seen some very, very good tennis players at a much higher level than most pickleball players just not respond well to it and kind of not be very good. But also, it's a very common theme that all the best players were good tennis players. So the better tennis player you are, it just stands to reason that they will be adapting the fastest. And I think that somebody like a Gael Monfils or somebody that has a kind of long build, like 6'3", 6'4", athletic, moves well, and is a really, really good tennis player, is like the ideal pickleball player. And I feel like they would definitely be like winning all the singles events within, I mean, I want to say it couldn't be above like 6 months.
Wow.
Just to get a feel for the ball. And then for doubles, it would take a little longer than that, but I do think it would, within like, take a Roger Federer, it wouldn't take him more than a year to be the best player. Probably less than that. If you take kind of the older players that are retired and not playing tennis anymore, just, I don't know, double that time or something, or maybe they wouldn't be the best. I'm not really sure on that point exactly, because it's just kind of, I still haven't figured out what makes people respond well and pick it up well.
Yeah.
Not.
I was going to ask you, Collin.
Sure. Yeah.
I was going to ask you, Collin, real quick, Collin. Do you think it's like the biggest thing coming from such a high tennis background is like just the reaction time, like the quick hand stuff? Is probably the biggest barrier?
That's part of it. So we have a strong background in table tennis as well, so I feel like that helps both of us. So just because you're a great tennis player doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be a top pickleball player. You will be good, undoubtedly. Like, you can play a really high level of tennis. There's no way you're not going to reach at least the 4-5 level, probably the 5-0 level. But as far as being one of the best pros and winning tournaments, not necessarily. So
that's what I say.
It really comes down. It comes down to the hand speed. I mean, some people have faster hands than others. That's just the way it is. And in pickleball, that's one of the most important things. So you'll only reach so high in doubles if you don't have that natural hand speed. And of course, you can get better at it. But the players who have better natural hand speed tend to do better. So it's a little bit of a mystery, as Ben says, why the really good tennis players either do really well or they don't do as quite as well as you might think that they should. So I feel like tennis and table tennis is like a perfect mix for me and Ben to be good at pickleball.
Nice. Rob Noonan wants to know if either of you guys are sponsored by any non-pickleball companies.
You are, aren't you?
Not non-pickleball. No, they're all pickleball companies. Yeah.
Who else are you sponsored by, gentlemen?
Mueller?
Well, pickleball. I count Pickleball Getaways, my company, as a sponsor.
Okay, well, okay. You pay for yourself, is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
Exactly. I pay myself a very healthy.
Is Sick Trick still around, Ben? Is that still kicking?
Yeah, Sick Tricks is still going. We're not really sure exactly what we are at the moment, but we're classified as a sponsor too. Yeah.
Nice.
And I'm looking into some other things at this point, but all of it's pickleball related.
Gotcha.
All right.
Good to know. So we did, the very important question we forgot to do is, what do you guys think is worse? A Kyle Yates hot dog shot or a Dave Weinbach chest bump?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Worse? What is worse?
Yep.
Like, what would I rather not have?
What would you have to not deal with?
No, the Kyle Yates hot dog shot.
We're talking like an in-between
like a between the legs,
thing,
like a hit off the top of your edge of your paddle.
So that includes panty drops and everything? All of his shots? Well, you don't know what that shot is, I guess. No.
Wait, say it again. You cut out a sec.
No, I was just saying that includes all of his just janky shots, the panty dropper, the reverse southpaw, everything.
Just like don't need to be necessary. You're kind of showing up your
not
needed,
a little
bit.
Or just thrown in there.
Or just in your face, Dave Weinbach, chest bump.
In my opinion, I think Kyle's shots are hilarious. I'd always like to see him on like every rally, please. A Dave Weinbach chest bump coming right at me. I'm not sure if I want to see that 100% of the time. It's a little scary. The guy has a lot of energy, and I don't know if I can raise my energy to that level. So
that is true.
Disappoint him. So I think
I agree with that answer.
Okay.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, all right.
I did one of my favorite Dave Weinbach chest bump stories is at the Chicago Open when I was streaming. He was playing with Lee Waters in mixed, and they had a particularly great rally, and he literally like went to do it, and then he was like, "Oh, you're a lady. I probably shouldn't."
He
and
did
like
the same thing.
really rousing high five.
He's like, he got super pumped, and then he went for it, and he's like, shit. That point was worth it, and we would have done it if you looked like you were game, but you were not. So we're moving on.
Yeah, if that partnership is going to survive, I think they need to get on point with that.
Because Simone's on point with her chest bump, so I'm just saying Lee can do it too.
Yeah, like I get to play with Dave quite a bit in Wisconsin, and somehow along the way he's developed like yelling during volleys, and he didn't used to really do that, but now it's like
louder.
Ah,
he's gotten progressively louder.
Yeah, it's ramping up. Yeah, it's a lot of reactionary.
Dave.
Like every shot, it's like he didn't expect, and he's very shocked.
So we like to joke around with him about that. So I'll be playing rec play with him, just like hitting a third shot drop and going, ah!
I would rather hear some Sharapova.
Oh God, I can't. I'm sorry. That's like one.
I can and I will.
That's the one tennis player that I cannot watch ever because I can't handle it. It's so over the top.
It is a little over the top.
It's a little, but that's just me.
Should we wrap it up, David?
Yeah, should we wrap it up? You guys got things to do.
Thank you guys for coming on, and if you guys have anything you guys need to plug, be our guest.
Yeah, and what do you guys got going on the rest of this year?
Nationals and the World Pickleball Championship is it. We are, just those two.
All right. You guys are like top of the line or nothing. You're like, you don't want to play any of these.
I don't got time for that.
Traveling to these little itty bitty tournaments. I'll just come for this one. Like I got other things to do.
Like
I'll take that free money. Thank you. Let me pocket that.
A cool $10,000 every weekend.
It's not too shabby. Not too shabby. What are you, speaking of Franklin Masters real quick, what are your guys' thoughts on the fact that like no other live streaming was able to happen earlier in the day?
I really feel like that was a mistake, honestly. I feel like there were so many other good matches beyond center court. There should have been streaming on all of those other courts. Because, I mean, if you're not going to stream them, like, let other people stream them. And, yeah, I can understand just holding center court for Pickleball Channel. That's fine. But I would have opened all the other courts to live stream.
Yeah, there were some great other matches. I mean, I think, the women's semifinal, they're like 4 or 5 match points saved. And there's a lot of good matches. No footage of that. So that's a bit of a shame. But, of course, Pickleball Channel did a job with the coverage of center court while the live stream was actually running.
When it was actually working?
When it was actually working, it was great. It looked professional. We just got to keep it from crashing. I guess too many people were tuning in. We almost got to 1,000 from what I heard, which is a good thing for pickleball, but it's not a good thing for pickleball when your live stream crashes. So we'll try to prevent that.
It was such a cool event. I wish we had as many matches as
I mean, when you have every top level pro, like all the games are good. So
and we would have seen a controversial in or out call and a partnership broken in the next tournament. You guys know what I'm talking about?
So there's that.
Involving one of our favorite players that we were talking about earlier with paddle throws.
Well, everything. There's fun drama in pickleball. That's why it's so great. Like, what a great reality show pickleball can make, right?
Oh, yeah. Indeed. And many characters in the script.
So many. There's some good ones. There'd be some good ones.
What's your guys' What's your guys' thought on playing with headphones in? Okay, that was a joke. That's a joke. Too far.
You do you.
Yeah, I don't know what was being played through those earbuds, but I would dearly love to know, and I'm not going to put past anything. I mean, it could be.
All right, you guys.
Could have been nothing.
Yeah,
could have been nothing. He was just like, I'm just putting these in because. I mean, what are you going to say? So, yeah. All right. Well, awesome. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us and hanging out with each other so we could get you on here. And yeah,
we'll
good luck at.
Road.
Of course, we'll see you at Nationals and
thank you for having us.
at the end of the year, and hopefully we'll get to stream all that stuff. And yeah, good stuff.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, guys.
Thanks so much, guys. Have a good one. We'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.